July 13th, 2024. A sunny day in Pennsylvania. Thousands of people came to see a political speech. Then, in just seconds, everything changed. Shots were fired, a former president was hurt. One person died, and America asked, how did this happen? This is the story of a big security mistake, the young man who caused it, and the questions we still can't answer. Butler, Pennsylvania is a small, quiet town. Most people just drive through it. It has rolling hills and a fairground where they hold events. On July 13th, 2024, something terrible happened there that shocked the whole country. Former President Donald Trump was going to give a speech at an outdoor rally. These events happen all the time. Big crowds come, people cheer. Security guards watch over everything. But this day was different. Something went very wrong. Thomas Matthew Crooks was born in September 2003. He grew up in Bethel Park, a suburb near Pittsburgh. His life seemed totally normal.
A little bit about myself and my academic goals, my passion for building things, my love of cooking with my family.
He went to high school, then community college. He worked part-time at a nursing home helping with food. People who knew him said he was quiet. He kept to himself. Neighbors said he was awkward and didn't talk much.
All I have heard is that they were a very reclusive family and they didn't really talk to people, so people that live around him don't really know them.
In his school photos, he looked like any other teenager. Nothing about him stood out. But something dark was growing inside. Crooks had never been in trouble with the law. He had never hurt anyone before. But later, police found out he had been looking up bad things online for months. In the months before July 13th, Crooks spent a lot of time on the internet. He looked up information about Lee Harvey Oswald. That's the man who killed President Kennedy in 1963. He studied other attacks. He looked at weapons and how they work. This wasn't just curiosity. He was searching for these things over and over again. He seemed obsessed with violence. What made Crooks hard to understand was his politics. He was registered as a Republican, but he also gave money to a Democratic group. His online posts said different things at different times. He didn't seem to believe strongly in one side or the other. The week before, the rally showed how much Crooks was planning. On July 7th, he went to the Butler Fairgrounds. That's the exact place where Trump would speak 6 days later. He only stayed 20 minutes. But he was clearly checking out the location. On July 12th, the day before the shooting, he did more. He went to a shooting range with a rifle. His father had given him this rifle legally. He practiced shooting. He bought bullets. He bought a ladder. Police later found bombs at his house and in his car. He also had a device to set off bombs from far away. This wasn't a quick decision. He had planned everything carefully. July 13th started like any other rally. People came early. They were excited to see the former president. Security was there, or so everyone thought. Here's the scary part. People saw Crooks near the rally more than an hour and a half before anything happened. He was carrying strange equipment. Security guards even sent text messages to each other about him. They thought he looked suspicious. But nobody stopped him. How does that happen? How does someone who looks suspicious get close to a former president? The rally had started. Trump was giving his speech. Then Crooks, sitting on a rooftop about 400 feet away, fired 8 shots. The first bullet hit Trump's ear. The former president touched his ear and dropped down behind the stand. Secret Service agents ran onto the stage. They surrounded him to protect him. But Trump wasn't the only one hurt. In the crowd, a man named Corey Comparatori was hit. He was trying to protect his family. He was 50 years old. He was a firefighter and a father. He died that day. 2 other people were badly hurt. Within 12 seconds, Secret Service snipers found Crooks and shot him. He died on the rooftop. Everything turned into chaos. People had come for a political rally. Now they were running and screaming. Some people hid. Others tried to help the hurt people. Trump was rushed away. His face had blood on it, but he raised his fist in the air. That picture went everywhere. It became famous. But for the families who lost someone, especially the Comparatore family, there was nothing good about that day, only sadness. After the shooting, police tried to understand Thomas Crooks. What they learned was confusing. He didn't leave a note explaining why. He didn't make any big statement. No group said they knew him. The FBI found no proof that other people helped him. No foreign countries were involved. What they found instead was a very lonely person. Crooks seemed to live on the edge of society. He wasn't close to people, but he also wasn't obviously dangerous. His political ideas didn't make sense. His reasons for doing this were unclear. Usually, when something like this happens, we can understand why. But with Crooks, we couldn't. The worst part of this story isn't really about Crooks. It's about how security failed so badly. Let's think about what happened. People saw Crooks and thought he looked suspicious. This was 90 minutes before the shooting. He had equipment that made people worried. Security guards talked about him in messages. He got onto a rooftop near the president. He set up his gun and fired before anyone stopped him. The Secret Service got in a lot of trouble for this. Everyone asked, how could someone so suspicious get so close? Why wasn't that rooftop being watched? Why didn't anyone act when people reported seeing him? Congress held meetings to find out what went wrong. Officials said they made mistakes, but many people felt like the answers weren't good enough. This wasn't a small error. This was a huge failure that almost changed everything. 10 days after the shooting, Crooks's body was cremated. That means it was burned. This made some people suspicious. They wondered if the government was hiding something. But many different federal agencies investigated. They all found the same thing: no big conspiracy, no extremist groups, no foreign countries involved. Nobody else knew what Crooks was planning. The truth seems to be simpler and scarier. One lonely person, acting alone, almost killed a former president. The Butler shooting showed problems that go beyond just one rally. In today's world, politics make people angry. Anyone can look up information about violence online. So, how do we stop bad things before they happen? Crooks had never broken the law. He hadn't made direct threats. His online searches were weird and troubling, but they weren't illegal. He got his guns legally. Until he fired that gun, he technically hadn't done anything wrong. This creates a big problem. How do we keep people safe without taking away their freedom? How do we know who is really dangerous out of millions of people? Where is the line between someone acting strange and someone planning violence? Corey Comparatore went to a rally and never came home. His family lost a father and husband. 2 other people will carry their injuries forever. Hundreds of people who were there will remember that scary day for the rest of their lives, and Trump himself came very close to dying. Whatever you think about his politics, the truth is that American history almost changed completely that day. How should we remember Thomas Matthew Crooks? He didn't leave behind any big statement. He didn't seem to believe strongly in any political cause. He wasn't part of any group. He was just a very isolated person who chose violence. In some ways, this makes him scarier than other attackers. We understand when people do bad things for political reasons, even though we hate it. We can see warning signs when someone joins an extremist group. But what about someone like Crooks? Someone who doesn't fit any pattern? Someone who doesn't join groups or make threats? How do we stop the next person like him when they're invisible until they attack? The Butler shooting reminds us of important things. In our modern world, lonely people can be just as dangerous as organized groups. Security systems always have weak spots. A normal day can turn into a crisis in seconds. It also reminds us that behind every security rule and every debate, there are real people. People who go to rallies, families going about their lives, communities that have to heal after violence. They all deserve better than what happened in Butler. On July 13, 2024, America almost had a completely different future. A young man who barely anyone noticed almost changed history. The shooting showed security failures and raised hard questions we still can't fully answer. The fairgrounds in Butler went back to normal. They hold county fairs and community events again. Life moved on. But the questions remain. How do we spot the next Thomas Crooks? How do we stop security failures? How do we stay both free and safe? These are the questions Butler makes us face. Until we find better answers, the lessons from that July day are still important.